Welcome to the channel. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Now in today's video I've got a Sugess for you guys. This is one of the newer models. It was released a few months ago, I think. But what's interesting about this model, there's a number of brands on AliExpress that have also done this exact same design. Now, if you know, this is actually homaging the PP Grand Complications. I'm pretty sure it is, but in the realm of chronograph watches with this particular design, it's very easy to get lost because so many of them look very similar. And none more so than when you go into the Sugess store, they've got absolutely bucket loads of these, pilot chronograph watches. All look extremely similar with just very small differences, and they do come in a range of sizes. This particular one is a 38mm. Now, going back to the other brands that have done this exact same homage, we've got San Martin and we've got Escapement Time. Now, this is where it's going to get interesting. If you really like this watch design, which one do you need to look at? In hand, of course, I'm going to be reviewing this one, but I'd just like to point out a couple of things on those other watches also. Now, let's start off with the price. The Sugess will come in at £227. It's by far the most expensive watch of this type between the other two brands I'm going to mention. The San Martin one comes in at £180, but that does have a VK64 Seiko chronograph movement. And then just recently, you've got the Escapement Time, which again have got the exact same design, same specifications as well, same dimensions as well, minus the movement, but Escapement Time used the VK64 and that comes in at £118, so that's by far the cheapest. So I think it's worth mentioning that early on within the review, you do have other options available, but there's something particular about the design, I suppose, where other brands are also catching on to this. But for me, Sugess made it first, and when I look on AliExpress and I look at mechanical chronographs, I think Sugess are the absolute kings when it comes to this. Like I said, they've got bucket loads of these watches, and they've been using that ST1901, ST1902, ST1906, this mechanical winding chronograph movement, as far as I can remember. In fact, it was due to Sugess I was first introduced to this movement. So this watch comes in a few catchy colors. You've got a total of 5 colors, including this one. This is more of an orangey peach color rather than a salmon. It does have quite compact measurements. So to give you guys an indication, the watch case, as I stated, it is 38mm. In fact, comes in just a touch under. The thickness is 13.4, but that's primarily due to that box style sapphire crystal, and the lug to lug is quite compact at 45.5mm, and normal lug width at 20mm. So the case is quite proportionate, smaller wrist friendly dimensions, and the weight, I haven't checked it, but it can't be more than 80 grams. I think it's around 60 grams, so quite lightweight. In terms of the box, the packaging it comes in, you've got your standard warranty card, which is blank, unsigned, and you've got an instruction manual. It actually covers quite a few of the movements that they do. Now, another watch to mention from Sugess, as I was on the store, I happened to come across it. They do offer a watch similar to this. It uses slightly different hands and it's got a slightly different dial setup, but still a chronograph, and it's 41mm in diameter, but it does feature a power reserve movement. So I think that's the ST1906, and in my mind, a mechanical hand winding watch, and one thing which does bother me with these, you don't know how much power reserve is left. So with a power reserve on the dial, it's absolutely the complication that you need, or the feature that you need on that watch, just to let you know where your power reserve is and when you need to wind it. So that's also one to check out, and this is absolutely Sugess's forte, and it's good to have a brand that features a certain type of watch quite a lot, so they know what they're doing with it. So let's have a closer look at the dial construction. Now, it does vary depending on the color you go for, and that variance would be in the applied hour markers and the handset. Now, with this particular model, you've got a reverse panda design where you've got the subdials which are in black, but you've also got these metallic black applied Roman numerals at the 12 and the 6, and you've got simple batons in or around that, and the handset, of course, is a leaf design which is being painted in a glossy black. But with the other color variants, you will get a silver polished applied hour markers and handset. Now, with this particular color variant, legibility may be an issue. If I set the hands anywhere where they cross over onto the subdials, it does tend to decrease that visibility, but I do like the contrast available in this color. Now, in terms of the features on the dial, you've got very clear, crisp printing. You've got the tachymeter scale on the outside, and on the inner scale you can see it has been broken down quite a lot, quite segmented, gives you all the little individual markers for all the seconds. Just below the 12 o'clock indice, you've got the Sugess text printed, and of course, as present on most of them, mechanical chronograph. And the dial is well done. It does have some decent symmetry, and there's a nice little feature which occurs due to that box style sapphire crystal. Due to the distortion on the edges, it looks like the edges of the dial are slightly curved up, which is not the case. It's absolutely flat. Now moving on to the case, you've got a flat polished bezel which is placed in between, of course, the case and the crystal. You've got all polished lugs, and predominantly the face that is going to be looking at you is fully polished. Now the pushers themselves, usual Sugess pushers, cylindrical, and then you've got a very nicely designed crown. I like that crown. I like what they've done with that. Gives it a really nice grip. And when we move the watch case to the side, this is where you'll see some different detailing. You've got this very fine brushing that goes across the side of the case, and I do like how the case turns down. Those are some really nice lugs. Get crisp transitions. And on the case back, this is where the beauty is, which is the Seagull ST1901 or 2 mechanical hand winding chronograph movement. That column wheel design, you've also got the swan neck regulator there. So as far as I'm aware, the movements are reasonably accurate. They are quite robust. They do tend to last quite a while. I've not heard of any horror stories that I can think of. Now, one thing I will say about the case design, these pushers, I am kind of bored of these pushers. So I guess just stick to this same design. They are quite basic. They work absolutely fine. There's no issue with them. Really nice, positive clicks. However, I wish to do something different. Maybe change the shape, maybe add some more detailing. This is where the one from the San Martin actually appeals to me slightly more, just on the pushers. I'll show up a quick picture, and you can see some really nice engraving on the ends of those pushers. Gives it a nicer feel, I suppose, and something quite different and in line with the whole kind of theme of the watch. I don't know how Sugess are going to feel if I'm talking about other models, but you know what, this is about getting information out to you, the viewers, and letting you know all the other options available if there's a particular design out, so you can make a well-informed decision. And yeah, this is it. This is the watch. It does come with this croc style leather strap. I know not many people are a fan of it. Neither am I. I do like sort of more softer style leather straps with that croc pattern. But with this particular design, you can put anything on there, and I think it'll be more suited to more traditional style leather straps with some nice stitching if possible. And I just so happen to have one, quite a contemporary looking soft leather strap, some self color stitching, and it's quite supple and does have a waxy texture. These of course you can buy from my eBay store. I'll just slip in some product placement there, but do check out the store. There's some really nice straps available, and yeah, that looks, I think, a bit better, not that shiny glossy croc style leather strap. So here's the Sugess mechanical chronograph on my 6.5-inch wrist, and as I said, the proportions on this one are really good. That 38mm case plus with that 45mm lug to lug, it does fit well, and I think that contrast does suit the dial, the black and orange with the legibility aside. It does look quite catchy and quite a good looking watch. So to summarize, if you are in the market for a mechanical chronograph with some high-end styling, then definitely check out Sugess. Like I said, they've got loads, and I'm going to mention that 41mm one again with that power reserve. I think that is extremely practical with the style of movement. However, if you're interested in this exact particular design, as I mentioned, you do have a San Martin available, which is quite a bit cheaper, but it does have the Seiko VK64 chronograph movement as opposed to a mechanical chronograph movement. Want something a bit cheaper? Again, Escapement Time do a very good one as well. Exact same design as well, using the Seiko VK64, but considerably cheaper than both this and the San Martin. But however, unfortunately for me, this watch does not tickle my taste buds. It's not my style of watch that I'd go for, but for those of you that would, hopefully this video has given you the information that you need in order to make the right purchase. So that's it from me today. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.